Last Friday night was an incredible night of wrestling. But one match in particular that I want to talk about is UNC versus Virginia Tech. There was a lot that happened in that match between AC Headley, between David McFadden and Kennedy Monday, and just so much more. So let's stop stalling and start talking about that SmackDown. What's going on, wrestling fans? My name's Josiah, and welcome to Fanco Wrestling. I'm not going to waste any more of your time, but if you're into wrestling news, I want to invite you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Now, the one thing I want to talk about with this UNC versus Virginia Tech match, first I want to ask you, did you watch it, and what did you think about it? Make sure you comment below on all of your thoughts. Now, this season so far, North Carolina has just been getting better and better and better and improving in the rankings. Now, right now, as of this past week, they were number 12, but they defeated number 3 Virginia Tech. Why I'm saying they're getting better and better and better. First, they defeated number 19 Michigan, one of their first duels of the season. Continue on, they defeat number 21 Army. Then, at the time, number 12 Princeton, and now number 3 Virginia Tech. They do have a loss on the season to Stanford, and that's why I don't believe that this match is going to propel them all the way to the top, to that number 3 spot. I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of this video, about where I think they'll be ranked, but I wanted to discuss that. Now, since that time, since their Stanford loss, their second duel of the season, they rattled off 8 straight dual meet wins, and this was one of them against Virginia Tech. Now, this duel started off at 125 with a big upset where Melendez of UNC upset number 11 Prada, and that's really where the momentum started getting going at the beginning of this match. Now, this was such an exciting match because right at the beginning of the match, Prada takes a shot on Melendez, and Melendez ends up locking up that cradle, gets back points out of that. He's up pretty big, 6-zip, but actually Prada gets the reversal and ends up going 6-2. Goes into the second period. Prada gets to escape and take down. So it's 6-5 going into the third. So this is really anybody's match. And at that point, you're wondering, is Melendez just kind of lucky to lock up that cradle? And, now Prada's just going to rattle off some takedowns and just beat the crap out of him. Did not happen. There was a very exciting scramble with about 30 seconds left in the match. Now, this time, Prada locks up a cradle, but Melendez rolls through, fights off, gets back points out of that, wins 8-7 because Prada got that reversal at the end. A very exciting match to kick off. So UNC at this point is up 3-zip. Then we continue on with wins from UNC at 49 and 41. 49, of course, is Austin O'Connor, number 2 ranked in the country. Great win for him. But getting into 157, where AC Headley had a very exciting victory right there. Headley over LaPrade, and I think this was such an exciting match. I mean, the score ended up 3-2, I believe it was. But it was most exciting because at the end, Headley just shushes the crowd, just tells them shh because of his victory there. But the match of the night, what everybody, of course, is talking about and should be talking about, is Kennedy Monday versus David McFadden. Why? And this is honestly a match that I called was going to be a massive match. If you watched my video last week about the duels to watch, I discussed the McFadden and Monday match and why I think it would have been crazy. And it was. So right off the bat, Monday shoots in off the whistle and just wasn't able to get the takedown on McFadden. McFadden is actually on the re-attack and got the takedown. Now, what ended up kind of happening now, they're back on their feet, and Monday's kind of rolling through on McFadden, or what happened a couple times during this match, okay? McFadden would shoot in, and Monday would actually get in on that re-attack. McFadden would roll through, kind of try to go for the leg, pass that through, and get through, but he's just not ever able to get it. Monday ends up just attacking him and getting him on his back with the Turk. Kind of happened a couple times. That's what happened at the beginning of this match in the first period, and when Monday was able to get those back points, ended up going up 10-4 after the first period because of those backs, because of that Turk, and because McFadden wasn't able to roll through and get that leg on in neutral. Now, Going into the next period, Monday escapes immediately and then goes straight for the takedown. Gets that takedown. So he just continues to rack up those points. And he just continues to reattack on McFadden's shot. So really, a lot of times if McFadden wouldn't have even shot, I don't know if Monday was getting the takedown. But it's 19-5 now after 2, with some reattacks, with some takedowns, with some more back points from Monday. And finally, in the third period, took a little bit of time, but Monday ended up getting the final takedown to win the match 21-6, getting the tech fall over David McFadden. Now, Monday at this point was number 15 in the rankings. McFadden, I believe, was number 3. So, will Monday move into the top 10? Seems like a no-brainer, but he does have a couple losses on the season. His first loss of the season was getting pinned at the beginning of the year by number 16, Quentin Perez. Those two have a lot of history going back all the way to high school, but in college, Perez ended up getting the victory. Now, Monday did avenge that loss at Midlands, so that's something to look at there. But he does have a loss also to number 15, Bronigal, and number 17, Griffith, which he had that loss during the Stanford match. Now, so can he move into the top 10? Yes, I think it's likely that he does, but a couple of those losses may be holding him back, and you may see that this week. But talking about the rest of this match, how did that turn out? Well, UNC wins at 174 with Law and as also at 197, but they're not able to win because of Bolin and Borst with Virginia Tech. They end up getting their victories, but it just was not enough. UNC won the duel 23-10, put the smackdown on Virginia Tech, and that's something that I don't think a lot of people saw coming, and it was a big upset because nobody did see it coming. I mean, I was looking forward myself personally to the Virginia Tech versus NC State just because those were at the time 2 undefeated teams going up against each other in February. Of course, NC State's still undefeated, but Virginia Tech is not. Now I'm looking forward to NC State and UNC going at it in 2 weeks on February 7th. Now, where should UNC be in the rankings right now? In my opinion, they should be around that number 7 spot. And you may be wondering, why aren't they at number 3? Why shouldn't they be at number 3? Well, first of all, I mean, Iowa and Penn State, they shouldn't be above them because they didn't wrestle them. But they also didn't wrestle the other teams in those 3 to 6 spots. They didn't wrestle Ohio State. They didn't wrestle NC State, Arizona State, nor Nebraska. And because of that, and because those teams kind of deserve their spot, they kind of all shift up, where a couple other teams are shifting back in the rankings, like an Oklahoma State who lost, like a Virginia Tech who lost now, all moving back in the rankings, where UNC now can jump up from that number 12 spot to that number 7 spot, just where I personally think that they should be. Now, what's interesting here is that what's next on the schedule for UNC? They got Duke and Bucknell next weekend, but after that, NC State, as I already mentioned, on February 7th, then Pitt, who is also a top 10 team, and they'll be able to prove their worth against them. Cornell, a top-ranked team. Virginia, and they end their season against Arizona State. If they beat Arizona State, they can really, really jump up in those rankings. And if they beat Arizona State and NC State, big end of the season for UNC, rattling off all those victories. And, it's unfortunate that they have that loss to Stanford on their schedule. However, I think that this can be a great end of the year for UNC, and they're going to have a great, great rest of the dual season and postseason.